Central Minnesota Sports Hub. It's the Morning Sports Desk, presented by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, and streaming on YouTube.
Powered by Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena, this is the Morning Sports Desk. I'm CJ Baumgartner, joined by Corey Tackman. Corey, our first show in a few days. Welcome back. We're back into the groove here.
Yeah, it feels good. Although this is the coldest week of winter. Welcome back. Welcome back to the coldest week of winter.
I had a vacation in Florida where it was one of their coldest weeks of the year. They had freeze warnings. It was a big deal down there. And then I looked at when you're at the airport and they have kind of the little like, hey, here's the weather of where you're flying to. And it was Minneapolis, 3 degrees, snowing. Yep. So that was great. Instantly got back to cold. And even taking off, we spent 2 hours on the tarmac in Orlando because the wind was so bad that it blew off the front of the nose of the plane on the way down. So they had to shut down an entire airstrip. So we had to drive to the other end of the airport and then wait with like 10 other planes to try and take off. We're also waiting because of the wind.
Brutal.
It was brutal. And you have a 1.5-year-old that's bouncing around and is sick of being in a cabin for 2 hours alone. And then the 3+ hour flight back to Minneapolis, all of which to say we got home 2 hours later than we wanted to. And we're really, really close to paying an extra day at our park and fly because we gotten back so late, but everything's fine. We got back, drove back. The weather's fine. And you know what? That's okay because things are heating up in the high school sports season despite the cold. It's mid-January action, but things don't slow down for us here, Corey, in our high school sports pursuit. And we got a lot of good high school basketball coming our way, starting with a matchup on KNSP The Fan tonight, Corey. Our guy Zeke on the call. I know you'll be running the board, but that Staples-Motley Boys Basketball team having themselves a season here.
Yeah, it's a Heart of Lakes Conference matchup tonight in Hawley. The Nuggets hosting the Staples-Motley Cardinals. The Cardinals are 4-2 in HOL play, which is second in the conference. I guess technically third because Breckenridge and Pelican Rapids are each undefeated in conference play. By the way, Section 6A boys basketball this year is just stacked with Breckenridge, Pelican, and Henning, and that's just 3 of the 29 teams that are in that section. But then Staples-Motley is 4-2. They're 7-4 overall, a 57.8 QRF, winners of 2 straight. And then the Hawley Nuggets are 1-4. In the HOL, which would be third from the bottom. Frazie's 1-6, Park Rapids area 1-5, then Hawley is 1-4. 3-9 overall are the Nuggets with a QRF value of 38.6. But I actually thought it would maybe be worthwhile here, CJ. Both teams are in Section 8 AA. And here we are in the latter stages of the month of January, and all of a sudden these sorts of standings really do start to matter. Thief River Falls is the top team in this 14-team section right now with a QRF rating of 37. So the section is down this year if we're being honest. But then Osakis is the 2 seed. Then it's East Grand Forks, Staples-Motley number 4. If the playoffs were to start today, Staples-Motley would host Roseau in the first round of the tournament, right? Hawley Nuggets are down there at the number 9 spot in Section 8 AA. They would travel to Barnesville. Now, there's not a lot of wiggle room right there. Barnesville has a QRF rating of 70. Park Rapids area on the other side of Hawley is a QRF of 101. So Hawley, as of this moment, kind of just got locked into that spot. However, Thief River Falls at the top, 37th, Osakis 44th, East Grand 52nd, Staples-Motley 54th, Perham 57th, Dilworth, Linden, Felton 58th. It is tight in there, and you could even go down to War Road, who is 66. Like, we are in that gut punch time of the season. We've said it before. I'll say it again. The section is absolutely there for, I would say, anybody in probably the top 6 or 7 teams could absolutely get after it and make it happen. That includes the Cardinals. So every game is now just important. It's not just about seedings, but it's about confidence building, and it's about ramping up into February. It's not that far away. We're less than 2 weeks away from February.
Yeah, it's insane to think. And it's crazy how fast the season goes, right? December, like the November, December games are always like, hey, we're getting back in the fold. We're trying to see we're testing rotations. Then you get to Christmas break, and then you see teams start to really make that crunch. They go from maybe 8 to 9 man benches to 7 man benches and things like that. And now we're starting to see that fully get there. Not only do you shrink the bench, but now you're making adjustments on that. And, who has maybe played themselves in or out of stuff and things like that. So we're getting down to that time. Everybody's jockeying for position. It always feels weird to talk about the section standings in December and even early January, but we moved to late January now. And this is the time where teams kind of know, like, are we a top 3 team in the section? Are we in that 6 to 10 version? Are we anywhere are we looking at playing a pigtail game, and who are we trying to avoid after that? And things like that. Teams generally know where they stand at this point in the year, and it's about fine tuning and trying to see how they can be the best version of themselves in those respective tiers. So it's going to be fascinating, and a lot of moving pieces still to come in the next month. We are a month away from wrestling playoffs, girls basketball playoffs, girls hockey playoffs. So there is a lot of things that are going to be ramping up in real short order, Corey.
Staples-Motley at Hawley, 7:15 pregame, 7:30 tip on AM1430 and 98.5 FM, The Fan.
Be there or watch it on The Fan. And we prefer, if you're not going to make the trip to Hawley, which, it's a long drive, Staples-Motley fans. If you don't want to make the trip, that's okay. Zeke's got you covered with the coverage on The Fan. More information when you go to Sports Cow on Facebook. All right, another matchup of basketball, this one featuring a Heart of Lakes and Park Region Conference team. Former mid-state rivals collide again in the Wadena-Deer Creek Wolverines taking on the Staples-Motley Cardinals in a girls basketball clash. It's a 7:15 pregame, 7:30 tip-off on 101.7 FM, AM920 KWAD, online at wadenaradio.com/KWAD, or the Hubbard Radio Wadena YouTube page from the Nest tonight. Corey, when you look at the tail of the tape of these two teams, Wadena-Deer Creek 8-4 overall, 2-3 in Section 8 AA play, 6-1 in the Park Region Conference, 2-3 on the road, 1-0 in neutral site games, 5-1 on their home floor. And for Wadena-Deer Creek, they, a week ago, the last time I called one of their games, they had a tight, close loss to Monaga, 50-43 on the road, coming after a game in Minnewaska area where Coach Cressup, talking with him, said that that's one of the games that they'd like to forget about. And then overall played well with a very strong DGF team. They had a 3-game losing streak coming in. They lost 4 of their last 5, and now had a really nice week, getting a conference win over Pillager, getting a section win over East Grand Forks. That was very competitive, and I think kind of the way that Wadena-Deer Creek wants to win games. They won at 46-43 and kind of put East Grand Forks in the phone booth with them and were able to grind out that victory. They are now 8-4 overall in this overall season. And now they get ready to take on a Staples-Motley team that is 3-11, and they are trying to kind of keep things rolling. They got a win at Verndale, 63-33, and then had a close loss to Uppsala, 61-57. Looking at the Cardinals, they are 0-1 in Section 7 AA play. Remember, the boys are in 8 AA, the girls are in 7 AA play. That's just kind of how things work out this year. They're looking for that first Heart of Lakes Conference win. Of course, no conference game tonight, but 2-6 on the road, 1-5 at home this season. They have a game coming up against Park Rapids area on Friday for their conference slate. But overall, this will be one where you look at these two teams and just kind of what each one is getting. The Cardinals are trying to keep building, trying to see what they have, and trying to, again, find kind of the best version of themselves in their respective tier, while Wadena-Deer Creek is trying to ride this high a little bit. It was a very important section win on Saturday for them against East Grand Forks, and they want to keep that momentum going. They have some games in front of them in Staples-Motley and Verndale, and then they have a big section game for the Wolverines against Hawley coming up as well. So a lot of things still to kind of be on the table for the Wadena-Deer Creek girls basketball team, but certainly they're a team that wants to get in that mode, and Wadena-Deer Creek is always a team that feels like when you get to this point in the season, Corey, they know who they are, they know their strengths, they know their weaknesses, and just basically trying to capitalize on that for Staples-Motley. Again, first-year head coach in Cy Bestlin trying to just build some momentum and take some positives and, again, become the best version of themselves where they're at right now. So it's a 7:15 pregame, 7:30 tip-off from the Nest in Staples. It's always a good rivalry between the Cardinals and the Wolverines, and we see that continue tonight on KWAD. More information when you go to Sports Cow on Facebook. Can I get a moo?
Moo, and I got one more. I just want to pile on to this really quickly if I can. Again, if you look at the 8AA standings, because, of course, girls basketball about a week closer to the playoffs than boys basketball, right? Wadena-Deer Creek right now would be the 8th seed in 8AA. Roseau is the 9 seed. So there's about Hawley is just in front of them, ranked 40th. Wadena-Deer Creek 58th. Roseau is 67th. So it seems to be kind of solid with the Yellow Jackets of Perham, the top seed right now in 8AA. 7AA, Staples-Motley is last. They're 14th out of 14 in that section. If the playoffs were to start today, CJ, they would go to Crosby-Ironton. And it's worth mentioning, Tori Oehrlein of Crosby-Ironton is now a 5,000-point scorer.
Yes.
But also 33 points away from becoming the all-time leading scorer in the state. She plays tonight, projected to probably get that 33 points here tonight. So good luck to Tori and good luck to the Rangers. 7AA, CJ, is absolutely stacked. Proctor is the number 1 team. They're ranked 4th in the state, according to the QRF. Then it's Pequot Lakes at the 2 seed, ranked 5th. And then Crosby-Ironton is 9th. And that 3 seed. And then, oh, by the way, Duluth Marshall is ranked 18th, 4th, and they've got the next mega point scorer in girls basketball in Chloe Johnson on their team. Like that 7AA is packed with talent, individual and team. So it's going to be fun to see how that plays out as the season goes on.
A lot of things to consider. It's always busy in the middle of January when it feels like we're in the doldrums of winter. We got high school sports to keep us moving here. Corey, a couple other high school sports notes I feel like we need to touch on here. I know you mentioned Tori Oehrlein getting her 5,000th career point and, of course, being so close to being the all-time scorer in girls basketball history in Minnesota, which is awesome. Another thing I think we need to give some credit to in girls sports, I know you shared this on Sports Cow earlier today. This comes from Monaga Public School, and that's Macy Josephson, who has announced that she is going to run cross country and track and field at the University of Minnesota Duluth for the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Majoring in accounting and an outstanding competitor. And of course, those Warrior girls cross country teams have been electric over the last handful of seasons. So congratulations to her. And I wish you the best personally. But I'm sorry that you got to go run for UMD as a Bemidji State fan. So I'll put that down because you're such a good runner. So
wow, hater.
I am only a hater of the colors, not of the athlete. I hope she does very well.
Go running those hills, and congratulations. Bulldogs are getting a good one.
Exactly. So congratulations to her and to the UNC Warrior girls cross country program. Corey, some other things to mention here for the kind of local sports runaround. I know this is a story that you were also right on top of, and I know you're really close to this one as well. Jake Dykhoff's keeping it going. He's staying with the Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks for another season. They made that announcement today. And the floor is yours, Corey. What was your instant gut reaction to this?
Oh, it was very cool. I had seen over the last week or so that they were starting to announce some signings, and I just wondered where our guys, were Jake and Colby going to be back in the mix. I haven't seen a Colby announcement, so sorry, Kaiser family, if that's happened. I've missed it, but Jake is back on. Jake's off a year where he's set a franchise record in ERA. He was unbelievable. He's done some overseas, I guess we'll call it, leagues now this winter. Probably still is. I don't know exactly. But he's going to be back in the Fargo-Moorhead RedHawks jersey for the summer of 2026. He's awesome, as we all know. And now we just wait and see. Does hopefully something works out for Colby in some fashion or another? If not, we'll wait and find that out too. But pretty cool when the local yokels earn themselves a professional contract, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I believe Kaiser was also doing some stuff international too. So maybe that plays into kind of some of the signings and the announcements and things like that. But yeah, going back to Jake, he's been highly respected ever since he basically came onto the local sports scene. And for him to come through and to do all this, had an outstanding career at Minnesota Crookston. And then of course kind of had some other dabblings here and there. And of course, Bluffton Braves and the Town Ball and how good he's been for those teams and how much he's meant. Just for him to get that extra look and to continue that pro career is something that's been very, very cool. And might I add, Corey, now that he's back for another year, are we closer to getting that autographed RedHawks jersey that we can hang at the radio station?
I don't know. I need to pester some people again. I need to start throwing some elbow. No. I am trying very hard, and I've tried very hard to see if we can make that happen. The hard part is you gotta. They auction the jerseys off after every game. So you have to win the auction. And I'm just not, turns out, going to every Red Hawk game.
Can you go there with the company credit card?
That'd be awesome. And I would.
Corey, when money is no option then to Mr. Tackman, he would spend so much money that they'd name a seat behind home plate after him.
Well, they would have to name it after Stanley is the problem.
And, that'd be, they'd quote Corey Tackman on it and he'd go, "Hey, not my money."
It's not very often you get to call a professional athlete, and I have had the opportunity to call two of them, and they both have played for the same team. So I would love for that that opportunity.
That'd be awesome. One of the things, and this is a quick aside before we jump into Brian Flores Watch 2026, but I know, obviously, I have a younger brother who's around the same age as Jake, and he all the time, and of course, faced off against Colby as well. And he would always go, "Hey, I got hits off those guys." And I'd look at him and go, "They are much different pitchers now than they were in high school. Like, they have gotten specific plans and grown into their bodies and developed and worked at it. So no, you cannot you got to hit off them when they were 16 does not equate to you have a chance against them today." And he still thinks he does, by the way.
Yes, you did. And no, you can't. Hey, CJ, you can sweeten up your week with a free chocolate chip cookie from the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. Online orders of $25 plus qualify you for a free 8-inch chocolate chip cookie. All you need to do is add it to your order from the deals or dessert page. And then, you get to enjoy that little something sweet with your Pizza Ranch favorites. It'll be automatically discounted when you check out. All you need to do is order online today and get that free chocolate chip cookie from the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in downtown Wadena, where the Tackmans went over the weekend and where we learned that the Amish love the racing game.
The buggies don't quite get the top speed that those racing games do. So you know what? Go for it.
They were right to like it. I mean, the racing game's awesome, but it was very funny. I was trying to think of a more discreet. It was very funny to walk into the arcade and see, man, there must have been 8 Amish people that were in there enjoying lunch, whatever. It's delicious but to see them huddled around the racing game and hooping and hollering and cheering each other on. It was awesome. I was like, gosh dang it. I want to do the racing game for the first time ever in my life too, you know?
Exactly. There's no Grand Theft horse and buggy. So you got to be able to jump in when you can.
Maybe there should be.
Let's pitch that to Rockstar Games. They can certainly get that out faster than GTA 6. So
GTA 8, somewhere near Hewitt. What are some of the townships that direction?
Grand Theft Horse and Buggy, Germania Township. We're in.
That's such a good damn idea.
We're in. We got this. There's so many Steam games. All we have to do is find a developer who's willing to take this on, and they will. Somebody will. We're in.
So it's really good. How do you say Germania?
Germania. Yeah. Exactly why you would think it'd be called Germania Township.
Well, yeah,
all Germans who immigrated there.
Yeah.
It's also my childhood township, so I can verify that there's a lot of very nice Amish communities and Amish families that live there. So that's it. I will say, by the way, Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. I was down out of state all week in the Florida sun, if you want to call it that, and I just missed Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade so much because I got down there and you look at all these pizza options and nothing can compare. So that is even though I'm back in the cold and the snow, the thing that always warms me up and fills my belly is the Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade in Wadena. So there we go. You find what you're looking for yet, Corey?
Not yet. I'm working on it. I'm working on it very slowly but surely. When the time comes, go ahead. We can keep going here. I will multitask and then interrupt you inappropriately when the time comes.
Brian Flores Watch 2026 is on. Brian Flores Watch 2026. Anyway, he's taking interviews with anybody and everybody, including an interview for the Washington defensive coordinator job, even though they have a defensive-minded head coach. So, like, is all of this leverage play? Is all of this, like, he's serious? He's not under contract by the Minnesota Vikings, so he is free to do any interviews he can. By the way, Green Bay's defensive coordinator just left to become the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. How much of a kick in the pants would that be if he goes to Green Bay with Micah Parsons and you got to face him twice a year? I don't think that's going to happen. But overall, he's taking a lot of interviews. He, according to the Washington Post, is a serious contender for the Pittsburgh Steelers job. It kind of feels like, unless somebody else enters the mix, that it's between him and Mike McCarthy for that position. Obviously interviewed once with the Baltimore Ravens, had some other head coaching interviews here and there as well. A lot of DC interviews. It feels like from the outside looking in that Brian Flores will not be the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. I am still holding firm despite all of this, whether it's delusion, whether it's coping, whether it's just trying not to give in to the headlines and the media spin. I still feel like unless Brian Flores becomes the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers or the Baltimore Ravens or the Buffalo Bills or something like that, I feel like he will be back in Minnesota because he's liked being here. And I think the Wilfs will take care of their own unless he's asking for just an insane amount of money or influence or whatever. It really does feel like this is him just trying to, play his leverage role a little bit here and kind of wait for the best deal. The one thing about that is, though, Corey, is Durante Jones, who's the Vikings kind of past DB's coach, I believe, very well respected in the Vikings building, was hired for the Vikings by Mike Zimmer, by the way. So he was like, multiple coaching staffs have respected his game, and he's kind of been seen as that internal successor. But now he's interviewing for the Green Bay job. He's interviewed for the New York Jets job, a bunch of open DC positions he has applied for. And there could be a very real scenario where the Vikings don't have Flores and don't have Durante Jones and really kind of have to go probably further than they wanted to hire this next DC. Where are you at just kind of in the panic meter seems aggressive, but panic meter for the Vikings defensive coordinator?
I have... This might not be given enough credit where it belongs. Man, I don't know that I care. And by that, I like the point of those jobs and the point of teams and the point of coaching and the point, every team loses coordinator. Unfortunately or fortunately, this is how it works. Players move on, coaches move on. And I just don't know, the most specific example of maybe what you're talking about here is when the Vikings had Kevin Stefanski, right? And Kevin Stefanski was like the coach in waiting. He was going to be the offensive coordinator. He was the offensive coordinator. They denied him interviewing with other places. And then eventually they allowed him to become a head. It was just like he was the next guy. He was always going to be the next guy for somebody somewhere. Was it going to be the Vikings or elsewhere? And I like Kevin Stefanski, and the organizationally, the Vikings look completely different today. If Stefanski, 2-time coach of the year, is your coach, like I really appreciate and think he does a good job. But like, how heartbroken are you that Kevin Stefanski isn't the head coach of the Minnesota Vikings? That's not
really, considering they nailed the hire in Kevin O'Connell. If they hired Brian Daboll and fired him, then you're like, oh shoot, what would have been? But yeah, like the Vikings, it's not in this moment that they're like, shoot.
Yeah, so I think that's a decent lesson in how we think about Flores and how we think about whatever this other guy's name is, who I'm hearing his name for the time. Like, good on both of them, but like what's Durante Jones's path with the Vikings to become the defensive coordinator and the eventual head coach? Guess what, brother? That's 5 years from now, where he could become somebody's defensive coordinator tomorrow and then somebody's head coach a year after that. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. You are entitled to look after yourself and advance at your own pace. Now, Flores probably has not been awarded the opportunity to advance at his own pace due to some legal ramifications of the way he conducted himself and the league has conducted itself towards him over the past 5 years. But like, I don't know, man. I just don't like is it going to suck if Flores isn't the D coordinator anymore? Yeah, man, he's really good at that. He's really good at that job. But also, I don't know. This is one of those weird things I don't have a say over, so I don't really feel beholden to any of it. Is that too laissez-faire about this?
No, I don't think it is at all. And I think you bring up a good point about the fact that it's like everybody loves Brian Flores and he's great at his job and he's one of the top D coordinators in football. And that should not be kind of just brushed aside, because the defense is made in his image and it's a very unique defense, the way he wants to do things. But I mean, there are still good players on this roster that would continue to be good players with, let's say, Raheem Morris, who just got fired by the Atlanta Falcons as a head coach, but was a very good defensive coordinator in LA. Now, granted, he had Aaron Donald, but he's been a good defensive coordinator at other spots. And he's somebody from the Sean McVay, coaching tree. So Kevin O'Connell's worked with him. Like, that would be a logical fit. There are some other names in there. And like, they still have Andrew Van Ginkel, Jonathan Grenard, Dallas Turner. And this is the other thing too. And I think to piggyback on what you're saying is, this defense might need a little bit of a facelift anyways. Are they going to keep Jonathan Allen? Are they going to keep Javon Hargrave, the two pieces they brought in last year? Harrison Smith, if he retires, like, there are just some things about this defense where you potentially are going to have to do a little bit of retooling anyways. And whether Flores was going to be here or not, it just depended on maybe the path you would pick. So there's still going to be some things that need to be addressed at safety, interior pass rush, things like that, where you're going to need to tinker with it anyways. So it might not be a bad time to bring in some. If you don't hire Flores, if that doesn't work out, it's not the end of the world. You still have some good players on your defense, Blake Cashman, Van Ginkel, Grenard, Dallas Turner, Jalen Redmond. You still have some pieces on there that I think any defensive coordinator can find some things to do with,
Well, and there is the thing about coaching, the thing about the NFL, the thing about all professional sport is like, do you always get it right? No, you don't. Remember the Vikings hired the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, and that was terrible.
Awful.
You can absolutely get it wrong. But like, the next defensive guru is in the league somewhere. It used to be Tomlin.
Right. And by the way, Tomlin was the guy everybody said, should the Vikings fire Childress to hire Tomlin?
Yes. So like, the next guy is always somewhere and is always available and is always ready. Kevin O'Connell, who we agree is a good coach, was like a quarterback's coach. And then like he was OC for them for a season, but we all know that it's Sean McVay's. The point is like the stepping stones to becoming a head coach happened quick for those who are going to become head coaches. It's just going to have like, the guy exists in purgatory for the Commanders or something. Like, the next guy is around somewhere. He's a Cardinals linebacker coach right now. Right. Like, Flores might be the right guy, and I think he is. He's awesome. But there's a lot of right guys. There's a lot of right guys out there.
A lot of really talented and smart coaches around the NFL.
Yeah. So that, I don't know. I don't want to sound, I don't want to like blaspheme at the feet of Brian Flores, because he's awesome. He's really an incredible defensive coordinator. Like, what can we do if that guy wants to be a head coach?
Right. Or just wants to go to a different organization that's maybe a little more stable at quarterback.
I can't begrudge him wanting to be a head coach.
Right. Or what if the Vikings won't pay him what he wants and he wants to make a certain dollar figure? How can you blame the guy? Like, we've all been in positions where it's like, I really like where I'm at. But
Yes.
oh, dang it, this team is offering me, like, I'm just being aggressive here, double my salary. Like, right. I can't say no to that. I got to be able to, even though I like where I'm at, my family likes it here. This is going to help us out. Like,
and things need to work out, right? Like, there's some decent coaching availabilities that are out there.
Right.
And like, pieces just need to fall into place. That's all this is. And things move faster than we necessarily like as Vikings fans. It's tough doo-doo.
Mm-hmm. If the Vikings don't get Flores, if they don't get Durante Jones, it's going to be a slap in the face, and it's going to feel like the Vikings held on to the bag. But also, if you're the Vikings, what do? You can't just hire Durante Jones out of fear he's going to leave, and then now Brian Flores is like, well, I'm going to be the DC of the Green Bay Packers. I was going to resign, but, so the Vikings are stuck in waiting. They kind of, like, they're just in this path where they have to be patient and hope some things fall into place. And, that's just, like, they're kind of putting it in God's hands here.
Well, and everyone else is being patient. So like somebody like it's whatever. This is such a corny. The first domino needs to fall. And once the domino falls, whatever it is,
once Brian Flores doesn't get a head coaching opportunity at all, they're all filled, or he's been informed he won't be a head coach of any of these teams, then the Vikings will pivot and go, okay, like, you're not getting we're not going to let you make a horizontal move or a lateral move. Like, what is it going to take to get this done? Now we can ramp this up. That, I think, will take place.
But if it is an exorbitant number that he wants, sometimes you have to say, all right, good luck, man.
We can't pay you more than the head coach. Or we can't allow you to have as much say as the head coach does in drafting.
Him as the head coach. Like, that's just how this.
By the way, associate head coach Mike Pettin, or assistant head coach, whatever the right terminology is, did retire. So that position is open, like that title. How much does it mean? Whatever. Probably just depends on what meetings you're in, how much, whatever. But, there is a title open if Brian Flores wants it, and he certainly would get it probably if he does sign a contract extension. But it just depends. What if he looks at the quarterback situation and goes, if we're rolling with McCarthy again, I have to be responsible for getting us to 9 wins like I did this year? Because let's be honest, Flores won the Vikings a lot more games than just, if we're talking purely offense defense, than Kevin O'Connell did with the offense this year. So like, he could say,
isn't that the point of that's the point? That's the point, is like, it's your job to coach your side of the ball to as many wins as possible. Like, I don't, whatever.
Like, am I going to be tasked? Am I going to be given an unfair burden where, like, a couple of years ago, as the offense is humming, the defense is humming, we're kind of doing this together. And it just depends. It depends, whatever. So it's a lot of waiting, and there's a lot of Vikings fans who are just anxious about everything and anything and freak out over stuff, which is fine, that you're allowed to do that as a fan, and there's nothing really else to run on. And this is better than talking about quarterbacks for the 5th month in a row. So like, it just will be what it'll be. They'll have to be patient. I really think that if he doesn't get the Pittsburgh or the Baltimore job, that it's not going to happen for him, but we'll see. So
that's also the job that everybody wants.
The Pittsburgh job, I bet you he would get a glowing recommendation from Tomlin, who still has some sway in that building, I'm sure, because they didn't fire him. He stepped down. So that happened. And
those are the two spots where you're talking about coaches who were there the longest.
Right.
Like, there's
organizations don't fire people.
Exactly. So like, it's going to be competitive, and everybody's represented by the same it's everybody's agent is the same agent. Like, sometimes these agents are having to negotiate against themselves in how it's all very strange. And some of the background stuff is a little more convoluted and difficult than it just seems out front.
Right, exactly. So, and by the way, these are people's lives. This is their jobs. This is like, there's just so many, this isn't Madden where it's just like, just throw more money at the guy and he'll show up, or like, whatever. So there's a lot of interpersonal things that work into that. So, all right, good show.
Hold on, not yet. It's waiting in the stage for you. Can you share that for me?
Oh, look at that.
It's not perfectly spelled. Does it matter?
No, it doesn't, because Adam Schefter is tweeting out graphics of head coaches who have Bort on the side of their headsets.
Yeah.
So it's fine.
How badass that.
It's basically it may just be Red Dead Redemption more than Grand Theft Auto, because Red Dead Redemption is cowboy Grand Theft Auto. But you know what? I'm taking it. So there you go. We are now going to be blackballed by the Amish community for this.
Hey, we loved it. It was awesome. I wish I was brave enough to have asked them to play.
You want to race? Head on? Let's go.
Let's do this.
Let's do this thing. Come on, Jebediah.
All right, there we go.
All right, good show, everybody. This one's getting clipped, by the way. This is going to Facebook, so. As it should. All right, everybody, great show. We'll see you tomorrow.
Powered by Wadena's Pizza Ranch and FunZone Arcade. Follow the Morning Sports Desk on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And watch every show on YouTube.